Hey guys, it's Ben, and this is my newest twisty puzzle, the Rapture Cube. Now this puzzle is based, aptly enough, on the similar Rapture Cube, which was created a few years ago, that behaved like a Rex cube with exposed corner pieces. This puzzle, initially, is very similar. It is a corner-turning cube with curvy cuts that turns just like this. We have the Rex Cube pedal pieces, Dino Cube edges, and also these exposed corners right here. But we can also see in certain areas these extra pieces. And it turns out that while analyzing the geometry of the original Rapture Cube, I realized that if the cuts were modified in a very specific way, I was able to add something extra to the puzzle. So on this puzzle, you can also take a corner, turn it by 60 degrees, like this, and then turn an opposite corner, like this. As soon as you make one of these 60-degree turns, there are always 4 corners on the cube that can make these turns, in this case these 2 corners, as well as these 2 corners, and other 4 corners which cannot turn at all because the edge pieces now get in the way. It's only after you return the edge pieces back to the cubic shape, like this, that all of the corner turns now can become freed up again. Now in this case, what we see here is that even though we've returned the edges back to the cubic shape, the extra pieces are not necessarily cubic anymore, and they've moved around. But we can still scramble them with all the corner turns again. Or we can continue with the 60-degree turns on the other set of 4 corners, with the original set of 4 now being blocked. In this way, it is possible to separate all of the cut-up pieces separately, like this. And by doing these moves, the puzzle can be fully scrambled. What's interesting with this puzzle is that, just like in the original Rapture Cube or even the Rex Cube, these pedal pieces all stay in only specific orbits no matter how you scramble the puzzle. For example, this pedal piece can never move to this position with regular moves. And the same is true on this puzzle. All the pedal pieces, including these extra ones that are a result of the stored cuts, still remain only in specific orbits. These pedal pieces, for example, around this corner, can never move to the pedal pieces in this corner, and vice versa. Now, an interesting question is whether or not this puzzle is jumbling. Clearly, when you make these extra turns here, some of these corners become blocked and can't turn anymore and essentially become bandaged. But at the same time, there are always 4 corners on the puzzle that can make the special 60-degree turns regardless of its state. So, in that sense, there's a lack of further bandaging. So I'm not really sure what the answer is to that question. I'll leave it to the terminology experts to work that out. Now, for the quality of this puzzle, I have to say, it's really fantastic. The turning is incredibly smooth, and it can even be done with a single finger, like this. And the puzzle is also incredibly stable. I thought that these extra pieces here would be very unstable and wiggle around and pop out, but actually, they stay securely in their place, which is quite a pleasant surprise. In order to make this mechanism work, it took a lot of thought in thinking about how the 60-degree turn should be put in. One of the important factors is that the core of the puzzle actually cannot be a Dino Cube, because if you tried to do it that way, the 60-degree turns like this would block. So instead, a copy cube mechanism had to be used. Similarly, there are quite many ways that these extra pieces that are added in have to be unbandaged to allow all the supposed turns to work. And I messed this up quite a few times when I originally designed the puzzle, but luckily, everything works on this final version. So I'm very pleased. Now you can also see in this puzzle that there are some quite small pieces, and so I made the edge length 72 millimeters. It was probably a little overkill, but I really wanted to be sure that these pieces were going to be stable, especially with the small amount of curvature on these cuts that was necessary to make them work. And as a size comparison to a standard 3x3 cube, we can see the size difference is pretty significant. But even with the large size of the puzzle, I find that the layers are pretty much the perfect size because they fit perfectly into your hand. So you really don't have to be able to grip the whole puzzle to turn it, which is quite nice actually. Now for the specs. I designed this puzzle in SolidWorks and had it 3D printed from i.materialise in their polyamide material, of course, dyed it black with RIT dye, and stickered it with these fantastic stickers provided by Chewy's Custom Stickers once again. At the moment, unfortunately, this puzzle is not available for sale on i.materialise, but I am hard to make it available. I just need to work out the best way to pack the parts to reduce the price. With that, that's about it for the Rapture Cube. I hope you like the puzzle, and thanks for watching. Alright, well, I bet all of you are really dying to see this puzzle all scrambled up, so I'm going to go ahead and take the liberty to do that right now. As much as it's going to be torture for me to get it back, I think I'm just excited to see it scrambled as you guys are. So let's get into it. First we're going to scramble with regular corner turns, like this, and then soon we'll go into the stored cuts. Okay, now let's start doing special turns. See how far we can get. Okay, we're back in the cube shape. This puzzle is definitely going to take quite a while to scramble, but I'm very excited. Man, this thing is starting to look crazy. Alright, I think I'm tempted to call that a full scramble. That is wild. No idea how I'm gonna go about solving this just yet, but this should be quite fun. Well, there you go. That's a scrambled Rapture Cube.